Hi. Last week when we left Sam and the Barkers, they had discovered that honesty was very important when they found treats that belonged to Bentley, and they returned them and were rewarded for their good deeds. Today we're going to talk about something that's really important. We're going to talk about stranger danger. And remember to always stay with your friends. We're going to read today Rudie and the Blue Van. Rudie and the Blue Van is dedicated to all of the children who love animals and have helped to their rescue, but they need to remember to stay with their friends. Where is Hannibal? Wolf Sam, as he, Boots, and Rudie stood about Farmer Campbell's field. He's probably around, just waiting to pounce on his next meal, woofed Rudie. We don't have to wait for him, Boots yawned. Let's go see what's happening down by the creek. The squirrels are probably waiting for us to come and chase them. And I heard that a new family moved into that house on the edge of the woods. We can introduce ourselves. They might have a dog. Mommy says I'm not supposed to talk to strangers, barked Sam. I think we should just go play by the lake. Hannibal will show up. Not if he's mousing. But you're probably right about not talking to strangers, barked Rudie. Let's race, he yelped, taking off at full speed. Running as fast as he could, Sam almost caught up with the big gray dog when he heard Boots call to him. Sam! Boots barked breathlessly. Sam! I can't run that fast. Wait for me. When Rudie looked back, he saw Boots leaning against the tree with Sam sitting next to him. Come on, puppies, he mocked as he slowly galloped toward the creek. Sam arrived at the creek and snuggled down into the soft grass. Poor Boots might not make it without stopping to rest again. You should give us a head start, Rudie. Our legs aren't as long as yours. Sam moaned and rolled over onto his back. Yeah, Rudie, Boots panted as he crawled down the creek. You should wait for Sam and me. We aren't as big as you. Okay, I get it, Rudie barked. You two are just little puppy dogs. You're not big like me. I'm rested, groaned Boots. Let's go over to the cliffs and explore those big rocks. As the three dogs took off for the cliffs, they heard a man whistling and calling for someone named Spot. They stopped and stood very still. They turned their heads and perked up their ears. Who do you think that is? Boots woofed softly. Sounds like somebody who's looking for his dog, woofed Rudie. Yeah, but I don't recognize that man, Sam woofed in his most whisper-like woof. And besides, he looks kind of weird to me. I think we better stay here and see what happens. You stay if you want, Sam, barked Rudie. I'm going to help. Without a minute's hesitation, Rudie ran back along the cliffs and across the creek. No, Rudie, come back! Boots and Sam barked as loudly as they could. Rudie, don't go by yourself. Wait for us. They howled at Rudie, but Rudie just kept running faster and faster. They could see his gray and white fur flying behind him, and his feet made the sound of thunder as he ran and jumped across the creek toward the bearded man wearing blue jeans and a tattered plaid shirt. Rudie ran up to the man and wagged his tail. Well, just look here, the man said as he patted Rudie's head. Want to come inside my van and get a cool drink of water? He asked as he leaned over and opened the back door of the dented and dirty blue van. Rudie backed away. He could see inside the van, and he didn't see any water. He remembered that Sam said his mommy told him not to talk to strangers, and this man sure looked strange to him. He backed up another step, but before he could turn and run, he felt a big leather mask go over his face, and a strap pulled tight around his neck. He struggled to breathe. He tried to pull away, but he couldn't. The man grabbed him by his collar. "Oh, no, you don't. You aren't going anywhere now," the man said gruffly as he tore Rudie's collar from his neck and threw it behind the bushes. He pushed Rudie inside the van, tightened the muzzle, and locked him in a cage. The last thing Rudie saw before being pushed into the van was Hannibal, perched on a limb in the tree above him. Then everything went dark. He heard the door close. When he opened his eyes, he saw a small white and brown dog inside the cage next to him, with a muzzle on his nose too. Rudie pulled as hard as he could at his own muzzle, but it was no use. Rudie was wishing he had listened to his friends and not run off alone to help the stranger. He tried to get the muzzle off his nose by pushing against it with his paws, but it wouldn't budge. He rubbed his nose against the cage, but the muzzle wouldn't move. He jumped around the cage trying to turn it over, or at least break free from it, but it was locked tight, and there was no way he was going to get out of it. He put his face on his paws and sobbed. "No need for that now," came the voice of the little brown and white dog. "You'll be okay, but we have to figure a way to get out of this thing. What's your name?" Rudie tried to sound brave, but it was no use. "I'm Rudie," he whimpered. "Are you Spot?" "No, I'm Prince. I live over on Willow Road," the little dog woofed sadly. "If you live on Willow Road," Rudie barked in a soft bark, "what are you doing all the way over here by the lake?" "I heard a man calling for his dog Spot, so I went to help find him," Prince woofed. "And you see where that got me, don't you?" Rudie felt so sad. He wished his friends were here with him. They would know how to help. He touched his muzzled nose to that of the little white and brown dog, and they started to cry. Sam and Boots were still sitting by the creek watching the blue van with Rudie locked inside. "We have to do something, Boots. Rudie has been dog-napped," barked Sam. He ran to the bush where the man had thrown Rudie's collar and picked it up. Boots leaned against the trunk of the tree. "You're right," Boots replied in his quietest bark ever, "but maybe we should just watch for a minute to see what happens." "Watch? What are you watching? Why did you two let that stranger take Rudie?" Hannibal roared as he jumped down from the tree and landed in front of Sam and Boots. Startled, Sam moved back a step. "Hannibal," he barked, "we were looking for you. Did you see what happened to Rudie?" "Of course," Hannibal purred. "I saw the whole thing. A barker has been dog-napped, and now we have to think of a way to save him." The three friends sat quietly behind the bushes and watched the man drive away in the blue van. "Did you see that van?" woofed Sam. "It's a mess, and I think there was another dog inside one of those cages." He paused and thought for a second, and then he put his head through Rudie's collar. "Boots," he woofed, "let's get the others to help. Hannibal, you see if you can get the birds to follow that van so we can find it fast." "I'm on it," Hannibal roared, holding his paw toward the sky. "Let's go, barkers." The three animals high forward, and Sam growled in his fiercest growl, "Let's go, barkers." As the blue van moved out of sight, Sam and Boots ran through the neighborhood, barking and howling to every dog and cat they saw. "Rudie has been dog-napped. We have to save him." The other dogs and cats joined in the search when suddenly there was a great cloud blocking the sun. "What's happening?" yelped Boots, looking up toward the sky. "Where'd all of those birds come from?" When the dogs and cats looked up, they saw what looked like every bird in the city flying overhead. The sky was filled with birds. "Yippee!" barked Sam as he jumped into the air. "Hannibal, great job!" he barked. "Thanks, Sam, I did it," roared Hannibal, stopping just long enough to give his front paw a lick. "I talked them into it. Rudie can count on me." Sam glanced at Hannibal and sighed. "Let's go. We have to find that blue van." "I'm with you," Boots woofed as he shook his head toward Hannibal. "Follow the birds," roared Hannibal as he ran among the other dogs and cats. "Follow the birds." Back in the blue van, Prince and Rudie were trying to get free from their muzzles. Rudie woofed quietly, "Prince, see if you can put one of your paws into the side of this muzzle, and maybe, if we pull hard enough, we can break the strap." Prince put his paw inside the strap of Rudie's muzzle, but when Rudie pulled, Prince's paw came out. "I know," whispered Prince. "How about if you try to put your paw in my muzzle and pull? With you being so much bigger, that might work." "Okay, get ready for me to pull," woofed Rudie. Rudie pulled against the strap until it broke. "Now, try to chew through my strap, Prince." Rudie woofed in his quiet whisper woof. Soon both muzzles had been removed. "Now what?" whined Prince. "Let's get my cage close to the door. If I can get next to the tailgate, maybe I can knock it out. If the police officers see a van with a broken taillight, they will stop it and ask questions," woofed Rudie. The two dogs pushed Rudie's cage as close to the back of the van as it would go. Rudie put out his foot and pushed and kicked at the taillight until it fell out. The man was driving up and down the side streets trying to stay out of sight when he heard the commotion in the back of the van. "What are you two doing back there? You better settle down or I will do more than muzzle you." "Shh," woofed Rudie. The two dogs sat in their cages and didn't make a sound for a long time until they heard the police sirens and dogs barking. It sounded like a parade of some sort. "What the?" muttered the man as he stopped the van. "Shut up back there," the man yelled. "Just my dogs," he said to the officer. "They act up all the time when they think someone is trying to get into the van with me. You can just ignore them." Rudie and Prince kept barking and jumping until their cages fell over, making a loud, clanging, banging sound. "I think I better take a look," Officer Richard replied. "Open the back." With the van stopped, the birds landed in front of it, and the dogs and cats circled it completely. With a sigh of relief, Sam and Boots knew that Rudie was safe. Hannibal leaped on top of the van. When the man unlocked the doors, Rudie started barking so loudly with happiness that the man didn't know what to do. He tried to run away, but Hannibal leaped from the top of the van onto his back, hissing and baring his claws. Sam jumped up on Officer Richard and shook Rudie's collar from around his neck. When Officer Richard picked it up, he looked in the back of the van and saw what looked like Prince's collar stuck between the wires of the cage. "Unlock those cages," Officer Richard told the man. Then releasing Rudie and Prince, Officer Richard placed the man in the back of his police car. He walked back to where the dogs and the cats were celebrating. "Before I let any of you leave here," he said, "you should remember these rules. Never talk to strangers. Never get into a vehicle with a stranger. If a stranger puts you into a vehicle against your will, try to kick out the taillight. Police officers will always stop vehicles with broken taillights. If someone comes up to the vehicle, try to make as much noise as you can to let them know that you're being held against your will. And never go off on your own. Stay with your friends." The dogs and cats ran up to Officer Richard, wagging their tails and licking his hands and face to show their gratitude. Rudie nuzzled Sam and Boots. "I'll never do that again," he woofed. "I should have listened to you two. I should never have gone off on my own to help a stranger." Hannibal moved in front of the dogs. "Well, I hope you've learned your lesson, Rudie," he roared. "If I hadn't organized the birds to help find you, there's no telling what might have happened." Rudie hung his head. I know, I'm sorry," he woofed sadly. "Well, welcome back, Rudie," woofed Sam, rubbing Rudie's nose with his own. "Now let's get Prince home." As the Barkers and Prince started toward Willowbrook Avenue, Sam noticed that Hannibal wasn't with them. "Hannibal, aren't you coming with us?" whooped Sam. Hannibal put up his paw. "You guys go ahead. I think I'll take my time going home. I saw some fresh mouse tracks by Farmer Campbell's barn, and I've never met a mouse that was a stranger, if you know what I mean." He purred as he licked his lips. So remember, our character lesson for today is that friends who are true friends protect one another from danger. Never leave your friends to help a stranger by yourself. Stay with your friends. Don't ever get into a vehicle with a stranger. If you're forced into a vehicle with a stranger, do all that you can to let someone know that you are there. Remember, Sam and the Barkers take care of each other. Tomorrow, or next week, we're going to read about a new friend that Sam and the Barkers find. We're going to learn what the Indians called raccoons. Thank you.